right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, powered by FanDuel Sportsbook.
All right, thanks a lot, Ken, and thank you for tuning in to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, powered by FanDuel Sportsbook. I'm Rich Walsh, joined by Tim Benz tonight, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Astros, the Penguins, James Conner, and maybe Tony Romo. Lots of things to talk about, so give us a call, 412-575-2600. You see the number right there. One of the things I want to start with, where do you stand on the Astros? I mean, that was a pretty harsh penalty. They were caught cheating with technology, stealing signs, and then players were beating on trash cans on which pitch was coming. I don't know how this didn't get out sooner. I don't know how. It's 2020 right now, and this happened in 2017.
Well, that's not taking care of y'all mentals. It's not taking care of y'all chicken. That's for sure.
Well,
lost a lot of chicken.
I had to find out from Paul Zeitz what chicken meant. I didn't know what it meant.
Yeah, well, I had to turn to no less of a source than Urban Dictionary, and I'm still a little confused because there seem to be differentiating definitions.
Paul told me it meant money.
Yeah, now it means money. It seems to have evolved into money.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
The Astros not taking care of y'all chicken because they're spending a lot of it for what they did when it comes to sign stealing. And, you know, the interesting thing to me here, Richie, is the severity of the penalties for the people involved as opposed to just the fine and what the organization had to put forth. You just outlined the severity of, you know, the firings and the severity of the depth of the cash being spent now for the Astros to pay for this. But when it comes to Major League Baseball, I think they learned a lesson from what took place in New England insofar as I felt like Roger Goodell and the National Football League initially with Spygate tried to sweep a lot of that under the rug out of fear that if they put some sort of asterisk on or came down hard on the Patriots, oh no, their championships would be tainted. And what I think Major League Baseball realized here is that, you know what? Aside from a physical asterisk in the NFL record book, in the minds of everybody who's not a Patriots fan, they look at it and say, well, they're tainted anyway.
Yeah.
So why not come down hard on them and at least look good in the process with your discipline? That's my take on it.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of. I mean, what should they do about the World Series? I mean, if you're saying that they cheated throughout the whole year and they got there, what do you do about the World Series? Do you take it away from them? Do you put an asterisk up? Do you vacate the World Series championship?
That's an interesting point to tie back to your opening statement. Why did it take so long for this to become such a big thing? And the reason that I think that it is, as opposed to the reaction that we saw from Spygate. The reaction that we saw from Spygate was instant, swift, and outraged by just about everybody. As Richie alluded to earlier, this has been more of a slow burn and a build to this, and I don't think it has had quite the far-reaching tentacles. And maybe that's because it was just the one championship for the Astros, and they're Houston, not New England, and it's Major League Baseball, not the NFL. Clearly that's got something to do with it, but I think it goes to, I'll answer your question directly. Why weren't more people outraged about this? Why weren't more people talking about it? Because more people are doing it. That's why. I don't think everybody was videotaping the defensive coordinator from illegal spots on the field like the Patriots were, but that to some degree or another, I bet you there's more in-depth sign stealing going on in baseball than just this because we're looking at what their third base coach is doing.
So, I mean, if it's okay to steal signs without technology, then why isn't it okay to steal signs with technology? I'm just playing devil's advocate
because
here.
technology makes it different.
But everyone can do it, though.
Okay, so everybody could do it with the Patriots, too, but you use technology.
You use technology. So that's kind of where I'm not on the fence on this. I think they're cheaters, but while they were recording it to decode it. This was a whole scheme from what you read. They had Alex Cora back there, had a video technician trying to figure out which sign meant what, and then they had a live stream going to players who were decoding it and then beating on a trash can so the batter knew what pitch was coming.
Well, that's part of the reason why, is that technology can be enhanced in certain stadiums. Certain stadiums might be more adept for it. It's a distinct disadvantage when you're on the road versus at home. 81 nights out of the year, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. So I think when you add technology to it, you're putting in a whole different other element than the human element of I can do it better than you.
Yeah, and I do
if my eyes are better than yours and I can see your catcher, if he's putting down a 2 or a 1, that's one thing if I'm doing it from second base.
I mean, sometimes people can, the guy on second can steal the sign and you know, give the batter an idea of what's coming there. But I don't know how they did it on the road.
I don't know how they did on the road either.
I don't know if they did it on the road. I haven't seen anything like that.
But my point is, it's easier if you're ahead of the curve and you're doing it intentionally at home, you can set up your technology at home to make it easier.
Yeah, there's no question.
That's why I think technology is a bigger deal for this.
Yeah, and you had a good, also we're switching subjects a little bit here. You had a good column about James Conner. What do the Steelers need to do here? What about James Conner? And one of the things I want to get into.
They need to steal Derrick Henry.
They do. Need to steal. I don't know if they're going to be able to sign Derrick Henry. He's going to command a lot of money after what he's been doing lately. But one of the things I want to get into after this break, and I'd like to hear from you guys too, 412-575-2600, is you look at what the teams are doing in the NFL right now to win in the playoffs. What do the Steelers need to do? And I think one of those clear sign, they need to run better. They need to run the ball better, and they need a running back that can do that. And maybe James Conner's the guy, but he's not available at times, and I think that's a big problem right here. So I want to hear what you have to say. We got to take a break, and also give us your phone calls at 412-575-2600. Back in a couple minutes.
The Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call is brought to you by Ireland Contracting, celebrating 25 years as Pittsburgh's #1 home exterior expert in roofing, siding, windows, and gutters, where honesty and integrity still matter.